Hi guys, good morning and welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host Eddie, and in today's video I will be discussing what I thought of the latest and greatest episode of Star Trek Lower Decks. You know, it was pretty damn funny, but it also ranked up there in terms of the quality of the kind of story and entertainment you'd expect from a typical Star Trek episode, which spanned across not just a Federation ship, but other ships as well, and I'll get to that in a second. And before I jump into all of that, of course, please be warned, this is a spoiler-filled episode review, so if you're not caught up on Star Trek Lower Decks, at least by this episode, you do not want to keep watching or listening, as I will be discussing spoilers, plot details, and all that jazz. That being said, you have been warned. Let's get right back into it. First and foremost, I love the fact that we got to see brief glimpses of at least life for the Lower Decks crew of a Klingon and Vulcan ship. They briefly humored us and showed us, even though it was meant to be mostly funny for both of them, Lower Decks crew for a Pakled and then a Borg ship at the very end there during the end credits, which was hilarious to me because the Borg just stand there with their eyes closed, just processing and accessing and assimilating. So that was pretty funny. But I also love the fact they're like, hey, you know what? Lower Decks crew exists on a Federation ship. Why wouldn't there be one on a Vulcan or a Klingon ship? You know, why the hell not? Or any other ship of any other alien race for that matter. I mean, it would totally make sense. And I love that we got to follow along with, you know, two ambitious Lower Decks officers, you know, the Vulcan woman and the young Klingon man. And I love how, like, all paths eventually converged on the same spot, which I suspected was going to be the case when, you know, they reported to Captain Mariner that they were getting or reading a strange anomaly, and they were all going to be drawn to the same spot. And then this episode also revealed that it was this particular Klingon captain whom was, of course, killed by the Lower Decks officer at the end of the episode with the assistance of his own Targ, which was awesome. That he was the one who was trying to bring about a new era of hostility to the quadrant by arming the Pakleds and having the Pakleds attack the Federation without the Klingons being the ones doing the direct attacking. So now we've gotten back to that storyline of the Pakleds being our primary antagonist, but now we've learned they've had some help from some renegade Klingons who might want to, restart the old Federation-Klingon war that was established long back in the original series. But the young Klingon officer wasn't having it. Like, he knew better. Like, officially, the Federation is their ally, which includes the Vulcans, because the Vulcans are part of the Federation. So, you know, he stopped the attack before it could progress, you know, by challenging his commanding officer, which is a standard operating procedure in a Klingon ship. So it wasn't that surprising to see it go down that way. But I loved that we got to see what life was like for a Lower Decks crew on both a Vulcan and Klingon ships. And of course, one of the things that made it so damn funny, and it wasn't meant to be like super in your face funny, but more subtle, I think, and it was still damn funny to me, was how the Vulcan officers aboard their ship kept telling their young Lower Decks officer that she needs to stop it with the uncontrollable emotional outbursts. Even though everybody's very calm and stoic and very, reasonable and logical in their stance and the way they speak to each other. But then it's like the way she keeps pushing and pushing it, talking about like relying on her instincts and whatnot. And then her captain and other Vulcans are like, you need to get a handle or a grip on these emotional outbursts. They will not be tolerated. Oh, God, that was just hilarious to me. Yeah, for once it was nice to have a Lower Decks episode where, we got to see other Lower Decks crews on other alien races ships rather than just the Lower Decks crew of a Federation ship. I mean, I think Boimler was still a primary focus for this episode. We got to check in with the other characters as well, but this was mostly a Boimler episode. And then, we also got to see what life was like for a Vulcan and a Klingon Lower Decks officer as well, too. And that was just so damn well done and fascinating to watch. Really entertaining to watch, too. And now it's set the stage for what is hopefully going to be a pretty intense season 2 finale, which is dropping next week. And based on what the captain said, Captain Mariner said, she said it sounds like the Federation is going to have some words and questions for the Klingon High Council about what the hell they're doing, or why they didn't know that this particular renegade Klingon captain was arming the Pakleds, and the Pakleds were attacking the Federation because of it. So, you know, maybe it'll end with a standoff between the Klingons and the Federation in the next week's episode. So who knows what will happen, but sure will be exciting though. So yeah, great episode, super enjoyable. I love seeing the other races visited, like the Klingons and the Vulcans, even checking in with the Borg, which was hilarious to me. So I hope you guys like this episode too. So what did you think of it? I'd love to hear your thoughts and feelings on it. Thanks so much for watching. I can't believe that next week is already the season 2 finale. Where has the time gone? This year has gone by both incredibly fast and incredibly slow at the same time, if that makes sense. All right, guys, have an awesome rest of your day. Thanks for watching. And of course, until next time, live long and prosper.